Hello, in this video I'm showing you how to paint leopard print and make a fondant bow all at the same time, so enjoy. So you will need a little bit of fondant, just any fondant would work, white so we can colour it. I've got black sugar flare, caramel ivory and I've got tangerine, that's to make the leopard print colour. Water, I've got a knife, quite a sharp blade and another sort of just a straight blade here, rolling pin, and depending on the size of your bow and where you want to put it, you might want to add some Tylo powder to make it firmer, really, to make it harder, depending on again where you're going to put your bow, how big it's going to be, and that's all you need. Oh, and some paintbrushes. Okay, so to get the colour of sort of the leopard printy colour, I'm using caramel ivory. And you want to just put a little bit in just to see sort of what the colour's going to come out as. You don't want to put too much and then find out that it's actually the wrong colour, wrong shade. So just build it up gradually. So I'm going to put a little bit in this. You can see it's turning a really nice caramelly colour. Just keep kneading it until there's no streaks or anything like that, until it's all sort of been worked in. If you find the fondant is too soft, you might want to add some corn flour to your surface and to your hands and to the fondant so it stops sticking. So, I mean, this is a fairly good-ish base, but I'm actually going to put a tiny bit more. Just want it a little bit darker. Okay, so when you've got the colour that you want, I've added corn flour because mine got really sticky. I'm just going to make like a tiny little sausage shape, pat it down and then just roll it out. Don't want it to be too thin. We are going to trim this down so it doesn't need to be completely neat and tidy. Again, depending on how big you want your bow, but the basics are the same. Okay. So cut yourself a strip of the thickness of the bow, however size you want it. Oh, let's go for this size. You can see the thickness. Of my strip. Okay. I like to straighten mine with the size of a ruler. Oops. Actually find that this is not straight, so let's cut this bit off. Don't need that bit. And that bit. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to take the two ends, I just pat them down ever so slightly to make them a bit thinner so that I can scrunch them like that. Just want to scrunch them a little bit there. Same with the middle, find your middle, just sort of push down to flatten it, and then I like to just scrunch it up a little bit. Just makes it easier when you're wrapping the strip around after. So you want to get a little bit of water and just add it, dab it to where the ends are going to meet the middle. And stick that in like that. Try to make sure that these bits are not touching. So we're going to put some cling film wrap in there in a minute. There you go. So get a bit of the flat bit that you had before. I'm going to cut off a strip. So I just use my blade for this a little bit easier. You can see that. However thick you want it. Okay, I'm just going to again put a little bit of water in the middle to start with. And turn it over. And then just going to chop that bit off. Dab it down. Okay. So you can see that these bits have got a bit flat now. So we're going to add a little bit of cling film to that in a second. So you're going to get some cling film and just sort of roll it up. You don't want it to be too big because it needs to fit through the hole. Just carefully put it in. There you go, depends on how big you want it. You can have it really bumped up or quite flat. There's so many different sort of varieties of bows. Same on this side. So like I said before, if you wanted to add your Tylo powder, it would have been at the point of adding the colour, and then it would start firming up about now. So if you leave this to dry, it will firm up slightly anyway, but the Tylo powder makes it extra hard. Right, there you've got your bow. So with a bit of the strip that you had before, you can add the trimmings on the side, bow tails. These would just get placed underneath like that, however big you want them. So we'll move on to the painting. Okay, so we're going to start painting now. What I tend to do is get a bit of the fondant that you've coloured. I don't need that much. Just get a little strip so that you can test what you've the colour that you've mixed up, just to make sure it's okay before you put it on the actual bow or whatever it is you're making. So, I've got my palette here, and I'm going to take out a little bit of the caramel ivory, because that's essentially the colour I need, but I want to brighten it up. Oh, I might take a bit of that away. I'm going to brighten it up with some tangerine. So I'm going to get a bit of that, maybe that amount. And then going to add some water, not too much, and give it a little stir. See what colour we come up with. Sometimes it takes me a few times to mix colours together just to get the right colour that I need. So that, oh, actually that's come out pretty spot on. I'm going to use that colour, which I'm quite happy with. So it's quite easy really what you do with leopard print. It's such a lovely print, and it's better to just kind of go with the flow. It doesn't need to be neat and tidy. You just want to make tiny little blobs everywhere. Try not to get too much water on it. Just sporadically, because that is what a leopard's print actually is. A bit random, some big, some small. There you go, just like that. There you go. But you can make them as big or as small as you like, and as spread out or close together as you like. There's so many different types of leopard print. You don't really need to leave this to dry before you add your black. So once you're happy with everything, then you can move on. So I've got my extra black, and I'm going to get a slightly thinner brush for this one. I don't know if I like that one. Slightly thinner one, just because it's going to be slightly, tiny bit more detailed. I'm just going to use the lid actually. There's enough black in there. Just add a little bit of water. And again, you can test it out by just sort of streaking it just to see. That looks good. Okay, so with your black, you don't want to go around the whole of the outside. You want to just sort of cover, I'd say 3/4 of it. So for instance, you do a little bit on this side and a little bit like that. Definitely don't want to make a prominent circle around it. So you can actually just add a few dots if you want to, and then a few little lines. Okay. And there's no right or wrong with leopard print. So you can start by doing small pieces like this, and then you can even start painting on cakes once you get a bit more confident. And literally it just takes a few minutes. It's such a quick and easy print to do. And it's very effective. And there we go, pretty much done. Just have a look and see if you want to touch up any of the lines. But actually, the more it's all together, the better it looks. So, there you go, that is it. Leopard print bow. Thank you for watching. I'll be interested to hear any comments you have. I could put links to where I got bits and bobs from in the description box as well. Thank you.